If you're learning a new language, then you should know that there are 6 villains who are out to get you. 6 evil villains who will stop at nothing to stop you ever becoming fluent in your new language. And in this video, you're going to meet one of these 6 villains. You're going to meet who they are, what they want from you, and most importantly, how to stop them in their tracks and vanquish them forever. So pay attention. Your language learning success depends on it. My name is Olly Richards, creator of the Story Learning Method. And if you are new to this villain series, then you should go back to the beginning and watch it from the start. It'll make much more sense. Now, who is this villain? Some of the language learning villains, they like to hide away. You don't know that they're there. But this villain, on the other hand, you know all about her, and she will cause you problems right from the beginning. She is, of course, the fear villain. Now, for every language learner, sooner or later, you're put in a position where you want to speak the language that you've been learning. It could be in front of your class, it could be with a native speaker friend, it could be on a trip abroad where you want to do something as innocent as order some food. But it's never plain sailing, especially for introverts like me. And the fear villain appears at precisely these moments. Now, the fear villain, what does she do? She stands next to you and she whispers into your ear in no uncertain terms some pretty nasty things. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to mess this up. They're not going to understand what you say. You're going to look like a fool. And she does this because she knows that it will scare you into stopping speaking. And why? Because the fear villain is terrified that as soon as you start speaking, you're going to be unstoppable. As soon as you have the confidence to speak your new language, your skills will grow exponentially until the time when you have no fear whatsoever, and you're so used to speaking that words roll off your tongue with the competence of a seasoned speaker of the language. So the fear villain's job is to prevent you from ever getting that speaking practice in the first place. And she'll do whatever it takes to make you feel insecure, scared, or nervous about speaking. But how does she get away with it? Well, unless you actually realize it's the fear villain doing her evil work, you probably just think it's you who has a problem. See, when you're speaking a new language with someone, it's a very personal business, human to human. And as a beginner, you can't say much and you don't understand much either. And this puts you at a very real social disadvantage. It can feel rather threatening to your pride and your ego if left unchecked. And this is why the fear villain's work feels all too real when she sets about trying to stop you speaking. So what can you do about her? Well, it's vital that you learn to defeat this villain, because the only way to learn to speak a new language fluently is to spend a lot of time speaking. And if there's one thing that's going to stop you doing that, it is a fear of speaking. Now, there are 2 ways to defeat the evil fear villain. First of all, you can stop her in her tracks by not speaking at all at the beginning. That's right, you heard me. Now, bear with me here. Most traditional language learning classes force you to speak in class from the beginning. And this is fertile breeding ground for the fear villain, because speaking as a beginner is very difficult and you're full of insecurities, like we said. But what if instead you follow a different method? A method based on input where you learn the language to a high level first before you ever start speaking. That way, when you eventually do come to speak, you already know lots of words, your grammar is good, you can understand people when they speak, and you have no reason to be afraid of speaking. And this is the best way to beat the fear villain, because you can learn the language in a clandestine way without this villain ever realizing it. This is the whole idea of the story learning method. You get really good at the language first by yourself, and then you can come on to speak it later. Now, the second way to defeat the fear villain is when you actually do start speaking. And when you do start speaking, you should avoid situations that are likely to make you afraid in the first place. So avoid classes that make you parrot phrases in front of all the other students. Avoid random encounters with strangers. Avoid putting yourself under any kind of pressure for that matter. Instead, seek out a friend or a tutor who you can practice with in a comfortable environment. Someone who won't judge you for making mistakes. Someone who will sit patiently and listen to you as you express yourself. Because then the dastardly fear villain will be powerless to get to you, because you will be happy and comfortable learning with a supportive, patient friend, not some random stranger who has no time to talk to you. So beating the fear villain means not being in a rush to speak, and when you do, doing it in a safe, comfortable way where there are no nerves involved. This is, by the way, also a smarter way to learn any language, and it's right in line with the science of what we know about learning. So say adios to the fear villain and start having a more fun experience learning languages. Now, what's been your experience with the fear villain? Does fear of speaking affect you? Or do you just chat away fearlessly with anyone who will listen? Leave me a comment below and tell me what's happened to you. Then please like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more just like this.